Thanks, Chair. And I think it's really important that we are clear about the central question that we're debating and voting on tonight. This is a law that seeks to reduce cruelty to dogs. And it is important for the hundreds of thousands of dog owners, of dog lovers in this country who know that innate sense of injustice, that innate sense of fury when they see or they hear of a dog being mistreated. And look, I've heard that sense from many of the speakers, many of the deputies who've contributed already today. But I think it's important for those dog lovers to know that tonight this bill will be delayed for 12 months. A law that will lessen cruelty to dogs in this country will be kicked down the road for a year. And I want to thank Deputy Whitmore for bringing forward this important bill, and we in the Green Party will be supporting it. Commercial-scale dog breeding is not something that I'll pretend to have any regard for. Even with regulation in place, it's an industry that prioritises profit over welfare, and where profit is the product of how efficiently and at how large a scale litters of puppies can be bred and born. And that's why Deputy Whitmore's bill is so welcome. And it seeks to amend a piece of legislation that was introduced by my former colleague, John Gormley, when he was Minister in 2010, which was the first measure to attempt to regulate the factory-like breeding of dogs in Ireland. And at that time, that particular law was strongly supported by animal welfare groups and by veterinary campaigners. 15 years on from that law, the measures being proposed in the bill today are absolutely necessary to ensure that we have an effective, humane regulatory system in place where dog breeding is taking place. In particular, I welcome the proposed measures to regulate breeding practices that would address some of the physically extreme practices that can cause significant suffering for dogs, like a minimum age for breeding, like a maximum number of litters per year, like an annual breeding limit and a minimum age for separation. Perhaps most critically, it looks to outlaw the horrendous practice of surgical artificial insemination. I know this was something Deputy Quaid focused in on in his speech, and it's an issue I've been raising parliamentary questions on in recent months. Minister, surgical artificial insemination is an issue that is long past time for action. The Irish Veterinary Council has already updated its code of practice to include a prohibition on canine surgical artificial insemination across all breeds, including greyhounds. It's banned in the UK. It's banned in New Zealand. It's an absolutely unnecessary procedure that, again, inflicts significant pain, creates a risk of infection on the dog to simply maximise litters and ultimately profit. It must be banned by statute, and that ban must be enforced by breaches, and any breaches must carry strict penalties, and that ban must include greyhounds as well. Of course, what's always been remarkable to me is that when it comes to legislating for animal welfare in Ireland, it's the people who are firmly on the side of change. People in Ireland are shocked to hear about some of the practices that take place on animals in our own country. And it's always been my experience that the vast majority of Irish people, rural and urban alike, want a humane regulatory system in place that seeks to put the welfare of animals at its heart. But every time, when it comes to actually making even small changes, the political fight is entrenched. It's vitriolic. Those proposing changes are attacked, and it's escalated into some sort of perverse city versus country culture war. And that is done as a very deliberate tactic. I remember in 2010, when the Green Party introduced the 2010 puppy farming regulation bill and a ban on stag hunting, the money and effort that was put into astroturfing a lobby was absolutely incredible. People should be in no doubt about the difficulty with which legislating to improve the lot of animals is resisted politically in this country. And again, what always amazes me, that opposition to change is coming from a tiny, unrepresentative interest groups. And though they are unrepresentative, they're able to generate such noise that the larger parties bend to their will every single time. Minister, it is essential that this bill, or an identical version from the government, is passed during the lifetime of this Dáil. I don't accept the justification for a 12-month delay, and I'll oppose that delay tonight. But in 12 months' time, when the bill does advance, I and the Green Party look forward to supporting Deputy Whitmore in advancing it and seeing it passed.